and supernatural worlds that surround us. Here we delve into those topics that challenge us to think outside the limitations of realism, where we test the boundaries of imagination and are forced to think outside the confines and restrictions of what is normal. We are the creators, the writers, the artists, and the insane. Welcome to our weird realities.
Happy Thursday, Wyrdlings. Are y'all ready for another thrilling week?
Oh, yeah. We've got a weird show tonight.
Yes. I know we've got a triple threat of genre bending goodness.
I like that ad you put out. I like that. That was some smart marketing there.
I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to up our game while I'm not working. So I'm focusing on us.
We appreciate it.
I'm available for, a small pension of your proceeds.
Rich is going to be here tonight.
He's going to be a little bit late. So if y'all want to talk about this breathless, bewildering, and a little bit peckish shows that we watched this week, yes. we can start.
Who picked Bone Tomahawk?
I did. I had heard it was coming out, and I saw that it was on Netflix, and we were kind of wrestling with waiting for that new show with that Hemsworth. Is it Chris? Chris or Liam?
Yeah, Liam.
Yeah, Liam Hemsworth. So it didn't come out until today. So I just thought we should go ahead and do that one since I'm sure that at least two of us were going to watch it.
Sorry.
Who's Tina talking to?
Hello, friends in my big star. I went hello.
Is she talking to you, Scott?
What is the Liam Hemsworth thing that's coming out?
Today,
it is
today, right?
Yeah, it came out. What's it called, Alan?
Land of Bad, which is a kind of a cool title. The Land of Bad.
What's it about?
It's got him and Russell Crowe in it, and I am a huge Russell Crowe fan. So I will admit I tried to turn it on earlier, but I couldn't. I didn't have time just to watch it, so I'm gonna have to go back later.
It's also got that, not Vigo, but he's in that show that was really big about a family.
What we doing in the shadows?
8 is enough.
Huh?
8 is enough.
No. Ventimiglia. Milo Ventimiglia. Philo Ventimiglia. Well, anyway, he's in there. Anyway, it's an action movie. A special forces team goes on a mission and they get trapped. Okay. And Russell Crowe's trying to save them.
Just like
Russell Crowe is a drone operator, right? And he's watching from the sky. So
check that out.
Yeah, it looks good. It's on Netflix right now.
Okay,
you can do that soon.
It's a 2024 movie, I think, isn't it? Or am I wrong?
It's a new flick. No, it's been out a few months, and now finally.
So I had seen Bone Tomahawk, and it had Kurt Russell in it. It had an all-star cast.
Yeah.
It looked like it was good. It was kind of crossing genres. It was a little bit of a Western, a little bit of a horror, a little bit of a Western thriller, horror. Yeah. So it looked like it was up our alley. So
yeah, and Ash had just the night before you picked it was ranting about how great it was and told me I had to watch it.
Oh, I might have a little different.
Yeah, I might have a little different.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah. Well, do we want to start? I don't know when Rich is going to be here, and I know he'll have some stuff to say.
Let's go ahead and get started with it.
Okay.
And I've got some notes on it because it was my pick, and like I said, I discovered it. I'm a huge Kurt Russell fan, and Kurt Russell just doesn't make bad movies. But so while we wait for Rich, I do have some Kurt Russell trivia. So can I get started with that?
Yeah, go for it.
So Kurt Russell is just he's just so multifaceted. Did y'all know he had a close encounter with serial killer Ted Bundy?
No.
Yes.
So Alan, you want to tell us?
He was camping, and he got up to do something, and he had food. He just put his food down. He came back, his food was gone. And then in an interview with Ted Bundy down the road, he was talking about how he was in that area hiding out. Some guy was camping, saw the guy get up to go do something, and he went and grabbed the guy's food and took off. So,
and I've told y'all before about him and the OJ stuff, because OJ was his neighbor when the OJ trial happened. So when OJ was doing the Bronco chase, him and his family were watching it on TV, and he goes, "Oh my God, he's going home!" So he ran out the door and he went down to OJ's house, and you could see him on camera outside watching. What I think it was like the neighbor was with him. They were looking and spectating. I just love. There's Alan Lassiter. Hey, Alan. There's, I think I missed Craig. Craig snuck in, so we've got a full house already.
What I always loved about
What
I always loved about Kurt Russell was how he began his acting career. Disney movies. And I remember watching him on an episode of Lost in Space where he was Billy Mooney's.
Well, Kurt Russell is one. I just don't think he makes a movie I dislike, and I don't dislike this movie. So I'll go ahead and preface by saying it wasn't a bad movie. There were things about it I had trouble with, but
I think one of his worst movies, Hadley, is Escape from L.A. That's got to be one of his worst movies.
Yeah,
but one of his best was Escape from New York.
Yes. Yep.
Another one I loved was Used Cars.
Yes, that's underrated. That is such an underrated comedy.
I loved his political campaign slogan. Trust me.
Big Trouble in Little China. That's probably my all-time favorite. Is the Pork Chop Express.
See, that's not my favorite. My favorite's that. What's that one? What's that one, Scott, that he made? What's that one thing? What movie he made? What was the name of that?
Was it?
What was it?
Oh, well, you can't even count that one, guys. That's the golden child. But I'm talking about like the other movies he's made. I love Big Trouble in Little China.
Well,
but I mean, he's funny. He's a great action star. I mean, he's done, straight roles, funny roles. He's done action, adventure, horror. I mean, he can do it all. And I saw him say one time that the key for him is, which y'all know, one of my all-time favorite top 5 movies ever is Tombstone. And the reason that movie was so successful was because of him. So,
And how long has he been married to Goldie Hawn?
Well, are they married?
Well, together.
They've been together for, gosh, I don't know. I saw Kate Hudson on something recently saying that he was like he'd been in her life as long as a real father had.
Yeah.
Yeah. Her and Oliver Hudson, right? Oliver Hudson's great. He's
Mike brings up another good one. Backdraft.
Backdraft. Soldier's another good one.
I don't remember.
Have you seen that one, Scott?
I don't think I did.
It's the one where he's raised up in this program to be a super soldier, and then they get dropped on that planet.
I started watching it, never finished it. I may watch it this weekend.
Well, we're gonna be watching Tombstone later this year. It was my pick, one of my picks for the year. So
I will say, Tombstone came as a little shock to me because, thanks to Star Trek, I always thought they were the bad guys.
Well, the Cowboys were the bad guys, but it appears they pushed. Since they kept pushing them. They were gun control guys. Yeah,
they were. Make sure you aim at your target. Unlike Alec Baldwin.
No, I meant they didn't want you to have guns. They were okay to have guns, but you.
Well, we gave Mr. Restucci 10 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Well, 9 minutes for sake. So, but Bone Tomahawk is a very long movie, it seemed.
Mm-hmm.
It was beautifully made. It had incredible actors in it. But it just, at some point in it, the gentlemen get horseless, and I kept thinking, dear God, let them find a horse. That was my big thing. Was please just let a donkey wander by, because one of them's lame. He's hurt his leg, and they're going to find his wife, so he has to go. But I mean, he's slowing them down, but the camaraderie ship between the men the dynamic is very interesting. You have Kurt Russell, Patrick Wilson, Richard Jenkins, which y'all might know him from 6 Feet Under, and Matthew Fox from Party of Five. It was really well acted, and like I said, their characters were well drawn. Their interactions really added to the story. Watching I mean, it was just really well done, but it drug on, and that combined with the landscapes of the Badlands where they were just was morose, which I think was part of it. But for me, it just I can't. First off, I couldn't think of anywhere more miserable to be without a horse. That was just like, oh my God. The only thing worse would be a desert, which was like a desert, but it had sagebrush. It was just terrible. They're basically so at the beginning of the movie, Patrick Wilson's wife is aiding in a medical situation at the jail. This bad guy's wandered in. The sheriff shoots him. They call her. Well, everybody goes home except for the deputy and her. And she's treating the guy. And she's like, "Well, I'm not going to go. I'll stay the night." Blah blah blah. Well, the next morning comes and they're gone. There's been some Indians have come in overnight and they've stolen some horses, and they come and take the guy, and they, please God, let a donkey wander by. Sorry, I'm reading Craig's comment. I don't know if I'm going to put it up on the thing. It's funny, Craig. So it just, Patrick Wilson has hurt his leg. He's having to walk on crutches, and it's at the point where he has an open wound. So he really doesn't need to be out and on it. They ride off. These banditos rob them of their horses overnight, but they still have to go. Did I mention that the girl was stolen? She was stolen by the Indians, who turned out to be not Indians, but like these nefarious troglodytes that happen to be like inbred from some tribes, and they're just worse than like the guy, the Indian professor is like, I'm not going, y'all can have at that yourself. So Patrick Wilson has to go because he has to go get his wife. Kurt Russell's the sheriff. He's going. Richard Jenkins is his, I guess, was it backup deputy? Yeah. Is that what they called him?
Yeah.
And Matthew Fox is kind of like a, I'm not going to say like a gunslinger type, but I mean, he was kind of a dandy too. I mean, he was kind of like really well dressed and very, very into himself. So they're the four that go. And as painful as my dissertation of this is, the movie was more painful, I assure you. But it was brutal. When they finally do get to the cave system and they find the Indians and they find the girl, it was brutal. There were some pretty intense scenes, but it just didn't do it for me. Like, it had all the elements of, I mean, in the beginning, I really thought I was really going to like it. There he is.
Hey.
Sorry, I'm late, everyone.
See, I knew if I stumbled around with my words long enough, he'd show up.
Bone Tomahawk. We're talking Bone Tomahawk.
Again, it had all the elements of a movie that I would like, but oh my God, it took too long to get there, and
that's what she said.
Just. What did you say?
I said that's what she said. It took too long to get there.
Yeah, it took really a long time. Like I said, I was like pulling teeth. Anyway, I did not enjoy it as much as I thought I would. Like I said, Kurt Russell, he was great as always, but it was a flunk for me. I didn't like it. What y'all think?
Rich, since you just joined us, do you want to throw in your?
Sure, I'll jump right in. So jumping on what Hadley just said. I thought Bone Tomahawk was a pretty decent movie. I thought it was well acted. It was a bit slow. I mean, it started off pretty good, and then it just kind of slowed down for a while. But much like Saw and Hostel and Wolf Creek and movies like that, there's just that one scene that's just nothing but torture porn. It's completely unnecessary. There was no need to put it in there. This is not a movie I will watch again because of that scene. And I love gore. I'm a big gore guy. That was violence for violence sake, and it didn't work. I'm sorry, Scott.
Is that the deputy?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I don't want to tell anybody what the scene is, but it's particularly brutal and awful. And there's begging, and it sucks. And it's not my cup of tea. This is why I won't watch the Saw movies, because there's no story to it. It's just, let's see what new and inventive way we can use to torture someone. And this, while it wasn't that, was still pretty just awful. And it just took away from everything else. Because once that happened, that's all I could focus on. I mean, don't get me wrong. I wanted the bad guys to pay for what they had done, which is exactly why that scene is there. It just, I didn't need to see that. And again, I don't mind, a zombie tearing somebody apart. I don't mind slashers coming in and doing what they got to do, because it's part of the story and it works. But this was just over the top and unnecessary, and I didn't like it. I thought the ending was a bit contrived. That's about it. It's not a film that I will watch again. I actually didn't watch it this time. I saw it maybe when it first came out, like a year ago, maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. More than that, three or 4 years ago. I saw it when it came out, and that scene it just resounded so much with me that I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna watch this again. And I didn't. Apologies to the fans and whatever. I just didn't watch it this time because nope, I'm all good with that.
Well, you've seen it.
Yeah, and I had seen it before, and like I said, it's not a bad movie. It's just there's portions of it that are slow enough that it takes away from the movie, and that scene itself is just, forget about it. There's just no need for it.
Well, that scene that we're talking about is like I said, these are is like a cannibalistic group of cavemen, so to speak.
Yeah.
And troglodyte was the word they used, which I appreciated. It's not one that you often hear, but they just didn't develop that tribe in a manner that supported those decisions and made it the horror they were going for. The scariest part to me was at the beginning when God, I can't think of his name. He's married to Courtney Cox, and he was in Scream.
David
Arquette. David Arquette. So that scene where at the very beginning, when they're wandering through the Native American burial ground, and that person is painted black and comes from nowhere and like is shooting arrows at them. That's scarier to me. Way scarier than what we saw with the deputy. But I think the scene with the deputy was to support what the show that they weren't human, that there was a definite.
You're absolutely right. And it was also to garner hatred towards them from the people watching it. And it succeeded. It did both of those things. But it was just too over the top for me. It was unnecessary.
Well, it just didn't flow with the story. Like I said, I mean, there was a reason for it, but it wasn't supported by the story. What the story showed was I guess this kind of a supernaturally kind of element to it was what I was looking for, and that just didn't support it. And I don't know. Of course, by that point, I had already lost interest because there was no horses or water.
Scott?
I got to agree with almost everything except with what Rich said. That was my favorite scene in the movie.
I knew you were going to say that.
That was like worth the first hour and a half. But No, Hadley's right. It starts off as one movie and then completely switches to another movie. So it's like you almost feel like, well, I didn't get satisfaction from the first part, and the second part doesn't really sound plausible. The best part of the, I mean, and 30-minute character development, and I gotta admit, the best part of this movie, if you like Patrick Wilson or Kurt Russell or Richard Jenkins or Max Fox, watch it. They're phenomenal in it. But an hour in the desert. Hey, I can walk. Oh, I can't walk. Well, let's sleep here tonight. We're going to go early. You follow us. You'll catch up. I had to shut the movie off and turn on C-SPAN to get myself going. And yeah, they didn't. They should have cut at least 30 to 40 minutes out of the movie and played up more on the end of it. Now, one part I found spooky because Ash had already seen it and was telling me about it, was when they're in the pub and, the Indian guy who'd gone to college was like, talking about them and building up the tension and saying, I don't want to have anything to do with this. I liked that. But then you lost all that tension for an hour going through the desert with a plot with no name.
Yeah.
I don't know if Fred's supposed to be on the table.
He can be.
I feel like I need to say, Fred, don't do that.
No, Fred can be there. If you watch, Fred's going to give the pouty eye, daddy's ignoring me look for the next 30 minutes.
This was a Western, the hills have eyes, basically. That's what I got out of it. It's like a guy watched The Hills Have Eyes and said, let's make this a Western. But not such a phenomenal cast like you were talking about. It was slow. It just nothing connected really. Kurt Russell, what a waste. Patrick Wilson, another waste. Richard Jenkins, love that guy. What a waste. Matthew Fox, who's underused all the time. In fact,
he was so good in this too.
Well, did you know in World War Z, he had a bunch of scenes that were cut out? He's a Delta Force guy that rescues them on the roof of the building, at the beginning. And then I guess apparently there's a subplot where Brad Pitt's wife goes away with him to help keep her and her daughter safe. And Brad Pitt's got to go find him. All this was filmed at $25 million and cut. But we're not talking about World War Z. But anyway, I just saw that today. Anyway, this movie had some parts that were decent, but it just was slow, and I'll never watch it again. I had high hopes when I first saw it, that it was going to be a scary Western. Horror Westerns are far few in between, and finding a good one is really hard. And this one could have been it, and it's not. That's all I got to say. What are we going to rate this one? Oh,
I'm going to give it a 2.5, and it's only that high because the only thing about the movie that was excellent was the acting of Kurt Russell and Patrick Wilson.
Yeah. Hadley?
Well, so I'm going to give it a 3. And I'm going to say that the exact opposite of this movie, where this movie was so long and it didn't have any action, is the flip side of The Raid, which we're about to launch into for the other, which I didn't like it either. So, and like I said, neither one of them were bad movies. It's just that they lacked integral parts to me to make a movie. So, I'm going to give it a 3.
Rich?
I'll give it a 2. I wanted to like it. I think I would have liked it a lot more if that particular scene wasn't in it. And I would have liked it even more than that if they just had some sporadic action with all those fantastic actors. I mean, this thing was just stacked with people that I love to see, and they just didn't do anything. So it was. And I will say that this movie gets a lot of love. It gets a lot of love from people out there. People just dig it. So I'll give it a 2.
Does. I'm going to go with you, Rich. I'm going to give it a 2. It could have been. It's a movie that could have been,
Well, it could have been.
Hey, Craig.
Greg, good luck. Drive safe and don't drive on
feel
NyQuil.
better, Craig.
Checked up on NyQuil. See you. Good night, buddy.
It's always get on the road. Well, I guess we'll move to The Raid, which was my pick. I love this movie. It was 2011. Takes place in Indonesia, and the main character is Rama, which is played by the actor, and I'll butcher his name, Iko Uwais, I think. He's a hell of a martial arts little guy. He was in Mile 22. He was the bad guy in Mile 22 with Mark Wahlberg, Hadley. Too bad Craig didn't stay around for that. Anyway.
He's obsessed with Mark Wahlberg.
Yep. Anyway, a SWAT team goes into an apartment complex, high-rise building. I think it's 15 stories or something like that. That is filled with bad guys, bad people, and then some ordinary people. And they're going to capture a drug lord under the orders of this lieutenant that's gone along with him. And so Iko Uwais, he's a rookie on the team, and he's, like I said, the main character. And then you have the Sergeant Jaka, which is Joe Taslim, and he's in a couple of movies. If you watch this, you'll recognize him. They enter this building, but unfortunately, the bad guys see them, and it's done in daylight too, which I guess they couldn't afford infrared stuff, night vision or anything. So a warning goes out through the building. They're trapped. They become trapped. There's a lot of guys get killed. A lot of SWAT guys get killed, and they're trying to get out now. They're not trying to kill the drug lord anymore. They're just trying to survive. And there's tons of martial arts action. There's tons of gunfights. There's tons of people getting macheted, knife fights. This thing has everything in it. And if you watched 2012's Dread, it looks like they lifted a lot of the plot from this movie. Down to the drug lord making the announcements. People get to stay there free if they kill these cops.
Yeah.
And so Iko Uwais has to save the rest of his team and get out. And what helps the situation is his brother is the drug lord's second in command. I don't want to give anything away if you haven't seen this, because apparently a lot of people haven't. It's in Indonesian with subtitles. I know there's a dub version out there. I've seen it. There's a sequel called The Raid 2, which is actually not a bad movie either. I love this movie. I thought the action was great. This guy's like Jackie Chan in a way, because he uses whatever he's got at hand to dispatch the bad guys. There's a lot of bad guys getting their heads shoved into the ceramic wall or the floor, stuff that you would think, yeah, that works, nonstop action. Unfortunately, it's in subtitles. If you don't dig subtitles, look for the dub version. I know it's out there somewhere because I saw it, or maybe I was imagining it. What say all of you?
No, it's on Paramount Plus and something else.
But I mean, what do you care? Half the movie was action anyway.
Yeah, actually.
Otherwise, it would have been like the Batman. Ouch! Pow! Kabam!
What say you, Hadley?
I don't know if everybody that loves it wants to go first, because I didn't, but I'll go. Whereas Bone Tomahawk was a lot of development of characters, and we got to see a lot of the actors that we love really stretch their acting chops, but there was no action. This was just the opposite. There was absolutely no acting. I was thinking about 10 minutes into this movie was it didn't matter if I had subtitles or not because I still they're not even talking. It's just they're just fighting. As someone who has been to martial arts tournaments, if you really enjoy martial arts tournaments, that's what this movie is like. It is really well choreographed if you like fight scenes. It was almost like a ballet, but with broken bones. There was absolutely no story, just a lot of fighting. I got up. They're rolling around like a bunch of squirrels, fighting with each other. I go to the other room. I come back. They're still rolling around fighting. I was gone for about 30 minutes, and I don't think I missed a thing. This was not my kind of movie. I'd seen it before, actually.
Wow.
I used to date a martial artist, Dallin. I know all about this stuff. It was not for me. So for you girls out there who need a little talking to go with your endless choreographed fighting scenes, you might want to pass on this one.
There is a story. Rama's trying to get back to his pregnant wife.
Oh my God, just hush. Just stop.
And he's trying to drag his buddy that's wounded pretty bad with him. Reconcile with his brother. Reconcile with his gangster brother.
Which was a cute plot twist.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was not my jam. That's all I'm going to say. It was not my jam. If you like martial arts, if you're a martial artist, you will love it. If you're not, you're going to be like me. You're going to say, well, I need somebody to speak. I need a storyline. Yeah.
What say you, Scott?
I've had this movie on my watch list for years, and I've never watched it because I'm thinking, this movie sounds boring. God, I wished I'd watched this sooner. Cadley is absolutely correct. There is no plot to this. It is not supposed to be. It's an action movie. It's like Enter the Dragon. It's just one of these movies where the whole idea is 5 minutes of background story, get into the building, shit hits the fan, and now it's an hour and 20 minutes of just fighting. I loved it. I thought it was great. The first gun battle scene I was kind of bored with. That was like, yeah, okay, that happens. But from there on in, it was like one or two guys battling each other. And my two favorite scenes were when Rama got stuck on the 7th floor with the machete with all those guys with knives and machetes. And then when Rama and Jaka ran into Mad Dog.
Oh, yeah.
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 That's all this is. It's martial arts, but it's done in such a way that it's like, with machetes and that. But the thing, and it's long too. I mean, if you like this, to me, it was like an Indonesian John Wick.
Yeah.
It was battle scenes, the fight scenes that went on and on and on. But what impressed me the most, it was the actors doing it. It wasn't stunt doubles. You could see these guys, the moves they make. Even some of the things they did in the fight scene were really impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys were very athletic, very well built, very agile. I loved this movie. It was way better than Bone Tomahawk. It was exactly what I wanted it to be. An hour and a half of just fist fighting, knife fighting, and a couple of little gunfights. It more than met the expectation.
And door edges, the edge of broken doors.
And let me clarify. I watch a lot of Kung Fu. I watch a lot of martial arts movies. I love them. But they have to have a story.
It was
this
survival.
Did not have a story.
It's like we got to get out of it. I will
go blind watching these Asian like series that have like 78 episodes. I'll binge watch them. I mean, I love this kind of stuff. So I'm just saying.
And Alan, I'm sorry. I thought you were done, Heather.
I'm done. Okay.
Alan, I thought the exact same thing. As I'm watching this, I'm thinking, these bastards ripped off Judge Dredd until I looked it up. And Judge Dredd came out the next year.
There's a lot of, and I'm surprised there's no lawsuit, from anybody, like, hey man, that,
they probably couldn't afford
it. Yeah, this wasn't high, but even the filth of the building, was so reminiscent of Judge Dredd.
In the TV room, and the and the announcement, hey, you kill them and you guys can stay here and get the drugs you want, just like in that.
Yeah.
But that's a good movie too, though. Judge Dredd or Dredd.
It is, as long as you separate it from the original, which was corny as hell, but fun.
Yeah. He's a product of his time. I am the law.
Yeah.
Rich?
This is a 1980s Chuck Norris, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Don the Dragon Wilson epic tale of just punching people in the face and slicing them up, chopping them down. Everybody keeps saying martial arts. This is actually Pankak's Kalat. This is one of the nastiest, evilest, freaking fantastic fighting styles in the history of the world. These are the people that practice this style. None of them are more than 130 pounds. They're all little dudes, and they will kick the shit out of you. They're so fast. They're so brutal, and everything is 100 miles an hour. The bad guy in this, Mad Dog, his name is Yayan Ruyan, and he started learning Salat when he was a child, when he was like real young. He also did Aikido and Kung Fu and a couple of other styles, but he is so good that he taught the Indonesian police force how to fight. He's fantastic. He's far better than Iko Uwais. But of course, he's the bad guy and he's less known. But he's fantastic, and his knife fighting techniques, unbelievable. He worked with this guy named T. Kent Nelson that my son actually worked with. My son's actually sitting over there, and he trained with this guy Guru T. Kent Nelson, and just some of the shit that they showed was fantastic. This film had a lot of, I mean a lot, like all that knife fighting where you see the knife come around the neck, and that's all Salat, and it was just fantastic. Every inch of this movie is fighting, blood, done really well. The choreography on this, think about what you saw. Those guys fought each other for 5-8 minutes at a time. I can't get up and go to the bathroom without being tired anymore. And this guy, Yaya Ruyan, he's my age. He's actually like 3 months younger than me.
Wow.
3 months younger than me. He was born in October. I'm born at the end of July. So I was very impressed with the way, even the minor actors, like just the people they used as cannon fodder, the way they could fight. It was just phenomenal. Just watching this movie just brought me back to a lot of the stuff that I used to do. Not that I was ever at like the caliber of these people. The littlest guy in there would kick the crap out of me in 5 seconds. But these guys are just so well trained and so well done, and they applied it to the film in a way that you're like, holy crap! It really looks real, And it was choreographed. I can't believe nobody got hurt in the making of this movie. It was just, I thought it's one of the best fighting movies I've ever seen, hands down, far and away. Just because when you look at the stunt people, and like you said that, I can't remember if it was Scott or Alan that said that. The actors are actually doing all their own stunts. These guys are actually they're fighting like they're in the ring for 5-8 minutes at a time. And I was just floored by that. I have not seen a fighting movie like that. I don't think ever. It was just phenomenally well done.
This one was really highly recommended.
Yeah, I'm probably going to watch this movie again this weekend if I can get the time. I'm going to watch this movie again this weekend just to see if what I missed. The Indonesian language is really difficult to follow. It doesn't sound like a language, and that's not an insult. I mean, God bless the fact that they can speak like that. They speak so fast and their syllables are really enunciated. It's just a lot. I'm pretty good at that. I'm pretty good at following along with what they're saying versus the subtitles, and I just couldn't do it this time. I just had to look at the subtitles, and I was floored. So I really enjoy this movie. It actually makes me want to start getting back into the martial arts again, and I'm gonna watch it again.
The Raid 2 is more of a gangster movie. If you want plot and more plot, Hadley, watch The Raid 2. There's more story to it because Rama goes undercover. There's a lot of fighting though. Still a lot of fighting in this because it's written by the same guy that directed and did The Raid. So you won't be deprived of fighting. It's just not like The Raid, the quantity of The Raid, because like we all said, it's just nonstop. And I'm glad you liked it, Rich.
Loved it.
I'm glad you liked it too, Scott. I'm sorry, Hadley. I thought you might like it because I know you like martial art movies, and this one was just fighting. But try The Raid 2. It's a different movie than The Raid because there's more story to it. It's a gangster story. He goes undercover in this gang, and there is a lot of fighting, a lot of killing. You won't be disappointed because there's a gang war. But this movie came highly recommended, and I watched it a couple years ago, and like Rich, I was not disappointed in this.
I hadn't seen it before, Alan. Yeah. I'm so glad you recommended it.
Yeah, I wanted to watch this for years.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys liked it because Tina and I watched it, a few years back, and she was just like, wow, because she likes action movies, and like I said, I think the version we saw was dubbed, so it made it a little easier to watch.
Well, and I think that, and I told you I'd seen it before, and I think that I saw the dub version. It's just that might have affected it. I don't know. I did not love it, obviously, like y'all did. I'll need a little chitter chat with it. I need to understand why there's blood and guts. I need to understand why the fury.
Yeah, try The Raid 2, Hadley, because it has story. It has a big story to it, but there's a lot of violence in it too. The guy that played Mad Dog, he was the shaman in Boy Kills World.
Oh.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Targaryen is his name.
He was good. Yeah. I mean, if I remember, like when he start to get mad, like wouldn't he have this you could almost see the transformation?
He actually has a he started teaching this technique a couple of decades ago, and it's about inner breathing, and it's supposed to be so you can withstand impact. I never get into it. I don't know anything about it really. I just know that he did it, and I guess this is a guy that you can come up and you can punch him pretty hard. I don't know about in the head or the face or whatever, but he can breathe to the point where it doesn't affect him like it would someone else. And he teaches that to a lot of the Krav Maga guys, the Israeli guys, Mossad. He teaches it to them, and of course he teaches it all over Indonesia as well, and now the United States. But he's taught all over the world, France, Belgium. This guy's phenomenal. I love that guy. I would watch this movie again just to see him.
Yeah, check out The Raid 2, you guys. It's a lot of violence. Yeah, check out The Raid 2. So what do you give this one? Hadley, we'll get you first.
I'm going to go with a 3.
No, it's higher than I thought.
Well, I'm giving both of them, like I said, they balance each other out together. What each lacked this week, I think, would have made a good movie. It wasn't that they were bad. It was just that they lacked integral parts, I feel like, are necessary for a 5.
Okay. Well, fair enough. Rich?
Straight up 5. I absolutely love this movie. I'm both embarrassed and pissed that I haven't seen this movie before. This is going to go on my top 100 list. I very, very much like this movie. This gets a 5.
Nice. Scott?
4.5. It was not a well-made movie. If it wasn't for all the action, it probably would have got a 3. But it's well made. I mean, it's not well made of that, but God, just the action in it had me on the edge of my seat. You know, I sat down last night with Fred. I says, all right, I'm going to watch the first half of this movie, then go do something. I sat there playing with Fred the whole time. The action alone, if you like the John Wick style action and that, you'll love this movie. 4.5.
I'm gonna give it a 4.5 too. I really like this movie, and I'll watch it again. But yeah, those were airsoft rifles that they used too, and they digitally enhanced all the gunfire and stuff. A lot of the gunfire stuff. So they did a good job on that, I thought. Because you've seen some really bad stuff.
Yeah, the gunfire was boring. It's when they got into the hallways with the machetes and the other guys' hats.
Well, I guess Hadley. Let's get into the hot D.
All right. Well, this is what I've been looking forward to all week. Y'all know that I'm obsessed with House of Dragons, and this week was episode 5. So we're on season 2, episode 5, and after last week's explosive episode, it was a little bit of a letdown, but I guess they're setting the scene for next week, which I'm really looking forward to. So we kind of set back, saw where everybody was, and laid things out for, I guess we're heading towards a really, really intense finale. I think there's 2 more episodes after this, maybe 3. How many are we?
Oh, wow.
How many episodes is it 8 together, or I don't know, maybe somebody can tell me. But anyway, so this episode really focused on positioning the characters back for the upcoming conflicts. So we kind of have an idea where everybody was, which every episode I'm liking Rhaenyra more. And I think that the Greens really had some interesting things going on. We saw what's his name? Aemond, is that his? Aemond was crowned as Prince Regent after they had a council meeting and kind of put Alicent in her place yet again, where she realized that, basically she has no voice with the crew that she sided with, and including her children. So we saw that happen. We saw Jace go to the Freys. We had another of Damon's dragon dreams.
Did you read that?
That Matt Smith is great. He is a great
This
actor.
TARDIS is a rockin'. Don't bother knocking.
Kristen Cole, y'all know how I feel about him. He's just more despicable every week. And so that's kind of where we're led up. They're getting ready to do what is it called? The dragon seeds. Next episode is we're gonna see the bastard Targaryens and lesser blooded, I guess, of the other houses, Targaryens, come and see if they can claim a dragon to ride with the blacks, and it should be phenomenal. I'm trying to think. I know there's a couple of things that I'm missing out. The big thing was Aemon and him frying his brother in the dragon fire, and now he's kind of crispy. So we saw. I don't know. Like I said, Alicent, I think she's like a shitty mom, but that's my kind of take on that. But anyway, what did y'all think, Alan? What did you think?
This is a good episode. The politics were really rolling. We got to see Matt Smith have sex with his mother. What else? Doctor Who, you naughty, naughty boy. I'm curious to see who the Dragon Riders are going to be. And I'm curious to see if a lot of them are going to get fried. Like, nope, this guy's not. Nope, she's not working. Oh, he's not working. She's not working. So I'm kind of looking forward to that part. And they did have that bastard Targaryen, the guy that boasted he was in the bar. a couple episodes ago. So is he really a Targaryen? We shall see. And the subplot of the weapons builder and his family trying to get out with the sick daughter. I'm kind of curious to see where that's going.
He's a dragon. He's one of the bastards, I think.
You think so? He looks like a Viking, so he may
his
be.
hair, yeah, he's got the hair. It's got some blonde in it, but it's got a lot of the silver. So I'm thinking he's a lesser blooded Targaryen or watered down.
I do love the scene. I do love the scene where Allison's like, trying to get the rule, and Christian Cole, they ask him, and he's like, nope. So, and then I like when she meets him out in the yard, and she tells him, well, you're not getting any anymore, So, and it's hard to feel sorry for Christian Cole because he's such an ass. He's horrible. You just want to see him die brutally and long and hard.
I hope he turns to ash in his armor, like he's so afraid of by the dragon.
His white cloak.
Oh, he'll get his eventually. It's just not gonna be this.
His coat isn't white; it's tarnished. It's like dirty, sooty old coat now. He's just the worst. Mona's saying he's a douchebag. Hey, Doc, how are you?
Hey,
Maximum Potential's here. Green Council. Calm down, Linda. Do you know how to drive a dragon? That's funny.
Oh, Scott, have you watched it yet?
Not yet.
Oh no.
I'll try to get caught up this week.
What say you, Rich?
Aemond is just badass. He has launched into my favorite character probably 2 weeks ago. I love his character. He's such a dick, and he just plays it so well. And he knew that they were going to bump him to the position he is now. But I don't think he thought his brother was going to survive the onslaught of the dragon there. That said,
I think it's important to note the only reason he did survive is because he had on Aegon the Conqueror's armor, which is made of Valyrian steel.
Well, I guess if you show your dick in an episode, you need to get promoted. I mean, there's got to be some reward to show the whole world your genitals.
Yeah, so just the way he goes about things, he's far more tactical than his brother, but I think he's also far more ruthless. And that's saying something, seeing as how his brother hanged all the rat catchers when it was only one that was bad. So this guy is either going places or he's just going to get squished real soon. But it's hard to kill him because of what he rides. So
yeah,
Vhagar's just big.
He's got the dragon they're all afraid of, right?
Oh yeah,
Vhagar.
Vhagar. Now I don't know the dragons that are under Dragonstone. I kind of want to see those, like you said, Alan. I want to see somebody get cooked, go down there and say, "Hey, I'm going to ride," and the guy gets just flamed. I want to see that. I would very much like to see that guy. I totally forgot about the guy that was bragging in the pub. I'd like to see him. I'd like to see them grab him, but he's in King's Landing, right? So I'd like to see them grab him and have him for sure ride a dragon. But I just don't know how they're going to smuggle him out of it unless he get out already. Maybe he got out. But I didn't put it together, Hadley, that the machine maker there was he could be a Targaryen. I didn't get that.
I am deep into the after stories from the books, the comparisons and stuff like that. So I can't think of his name, but he is one of the dragon riders in the book.
Okay.
That so it really just depends on what they're going to do, because for some of the stories that they're coming up with, they're not paralleling to what happened in the books.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
I mean,
one of the things is there's a girl in the books called Nettles, and Nettles claims sheep stealer, which we like me and these people know each other, but the fan theory is that they're not going to do the Nettles character, that Bela is going to be Nettles and take up that storyline. But sheep stealer is supposed to be in the Vale, so it should be interesting.
Well, isn't that war basically wipes out the Targaryens, right? I mean,
Yeah.
They spoke each other.
Yeah.
It
basically
really
it ends the dragons, right?
it's what
almost makes them
destroyed the dragons. It was the beginning of the end for the dragons.
So
So that's the saddest thing about it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So they've got some stuff ahead of them. I can't wait.
There's a lot of dragons we haven't seen. I mean, this next episode we should be seeing, I think, it's Vermithor and Silverwing are two of the big dragons. They're larger dragons that haven't been claimed. And so I think that's going to happen. And there's Sea Smoke. That was, I can't think of his name, but it was Rhaenyra's husband. And the two Drift Marks, I can't think of his name. He just lost his wife. She was on Melis. What's his name? He's not a Targaryen, but he's a Valyrian bloodline.
Oh,
he's got the two bastard sons, and one of them has been in a lot of scenes with Sea Smoke.
Right.
So there's a fan theory that Sea Smoke's going to be claimed by him. So.
Yeah, no, that's.
Robert Baratheon was actually a Targaryen. He was in the books. The queen who never was a Baratheon. So I feel like I'm the nerd in the room right
now. I like that. I like what Maximum Potential said there. I remember that line. They're just meat,
Well, everybody says that until they have a dragon to ride.
Right?
Nobody wants a sports car until someone gives it to them.
This episode was actually, like you said, it was a little come down from, the last episode, but it filled in a lot of stuff, and it made you think, oh my gosh, they're going to have these new dragon riders. And I always like when they introduce new characters, especially I want some new characters in this story now,
Well, this episode showed us that Rhaenyra's getting pissy. She's like, yeah, I'm not going to sit here. I'm not going to sit here while you guys fight my war. But at the same time, she's the queen, or the displaced queen. So she really shouldn't.
Well, she was a dragon rider, but her dad raised her to be a diplomat too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
she talks about that.
Yeah,
I'm getting tired of Doctor Who's hallucinations now. It's just getting old.
There's got to be a point to it. If we need, I need the point.
Please come soon. Point, because I'm never a big fan of that. The hallucinations in shows and stuff. I'm just not, or the alternate reality. I don't change, please.
Yeah, we're getting there. He's either gonna come out on top or just have a breakdown.
So next week we're doing the Hunt for Red October. So y'all be thinking about what you want to pair it with.
How about Land of Bad?
What's Land of Bad?
That's that new movie we were talking about. It's on Netflix. And I think that's going to do it for us this week. So I'm going to play our outgoing video.
Can I just say one quick thing? I just heard Bob Newhart passed away today.
Passed away.
Yes.
All the angels are leaving this plane, guys. Y'all need to pay attention. Oh, and tomorrow night, Tracy Crosby's doing part 3 of her Shaman Talk, Shaman Walk. For those of you who are interested in participating, it will be on at 8 p.m. and we will see you then.
That's going to do it for this week's show. For notifications each time the Wyrd Realities Network goes live, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring that bell. You can expect fresh weirdness 3, 4, sometimes 5 times a week. But before we depart, let me give a special shout out to our incredible patrons, Mike Lewis, Landis Aldana, and Alan Lassiter. We couldn't keep the lights on here at Wyrd without you. And a very special thanks to our partners that keep Wyrd Reality spinning. It's you guys who make our Wyrd world go round. And if you're interested in supporting our endeavors, consider joining the Cabal of Wyrd over at Patreon. And keeping you entertained and bringing you new content is our goal with every cent that you donate. And if you are interested in partnering or sponsoring, be sure to send us an email at wyrdrealities@gmail.com. We are always interested in making new friends and creating a new tapestry of strangeness with you. So, until next week, kids, stay weird, you beautiful weirdos.